The law is simple. In Illinois, you're not allowed to use your cell phone while driving. But is it that simple? And if you got a ticket for this, how do you handle it? How will this affect you? Let's dive into it right now. Hi, I'm Derek Martin with Driver Defense Team, and our law firm represents a lot of people in the Chicagoland area on these cell phone tickets. And I gotta say, people get upset when they get these tickets. And I think it's because a cell phone is just such a part of you. I mean, if you're anything like me, you've got your phone on you 24/7. And so then when you get one of these tickets, you're awfully upset. And I understand why, but I think it might be helpful to sort of break down the law and understand what's allowed and what's not. So the law is not about talking on the phone while driving or even texting while driving. The law specifically says that you're not allowed to operate an electronic communication device while driving. So what does it mean to be operating that device? Well, like I said, the law has really expanded. It began with just talking on the phone, and you were required to use a hands-free headset, which is still the case. And then it expanded to texting, which is no longer allowed. But really, the law now includes anything that you can do on your cell phone. So scrolling through or really touching your phone at all, even with the screen off, even just holding it in your hand while driving is a violation of the law. Additionally, the law says that even if you're not touching your phone, you are not permitted to stream or view any sort of video while driving. So what is considered an electronic communication device? Well, certainly your cell phone is, but also the law says personal digital assistants, which these days means iPads and tablets, and also laptops. Those are all forbidden to be used by the driver while driving. The only exception really in the law is for a device, an electronic device that is integrated into the vehicle. So that often means a GPS device that's part of the dash or the music system. Those are all electronically integrated into the vehicle, and so that's permitted to be used. Now, what I don't think you're going to get away with is taking a cell phone and plugging it in and saying that that's integrated, or mounting it to the dashboard and considering that to be integrated. I don't think that's gonna fly. I think it has to be truly integrated and mounted into the vehicle. And lastly, what does it mean to be driving? Well, most of the time that's obvious. However, we often hear from people that were simply stopped at the stoplight or a stop sign, checked their phone quickly, and received a ticket. Very, very common. If an officer sees you do that, he's probably going to write you the ticket because your vehicle was still in drive. However, if your vehicle is in neutral or parked, that is an exception under the law. It can also be off the side of the road on the shoulder, and you're allowed to use your cell phone there. So driving most of the time is pretty straightforward, but there are some exceptions. Now let's talk about the penalties for this ticket. The first thing you should know is that it is considered a moving violation. The law changed and was updated on July 1st, 2019. Now even a first-time offense is going to be considered a moving violation. And a moving violation is what you don't want. You do not want that on your record because that can cause you to have a bad record. It can cause your insurance rates to increase also. There's also a fine associated with these tickets. For a first offense, the fine is $75. For a second offense, it's $100. A third offense, $125. And a fourth and subsequent offense, the fine is $150 plus court costs. So court costs, if you are in court, are going to cost you about $250 to $300 depending on the county. So you can see that this can be a pretty expensive ticket in addition to being a moving violation on your record. Now, all of this assumes that you were simply pulled over by a police officer and given a ticket. But if you were involved in an accident as a result of being on your cell phone, things can be far more serious. If that accident resulted in an injury, you can be charged with a Class A misdemeanor criminal offense. If that accident resulted in a death, you can be charged with a Class 4 felony offense. Those are criminal offenses and far more serious. If you are charged with that, you're going to need and want a lawyer. So how do we handle this traffic ticket? Well, you often have the opportunity to send it in with a payment and plead guilty. Now you can get a conviction or you can request court supervision. Now, I don't recommend the conviction. Supervision might be an alright option for some people depending on their circumstances. But the one I want to talk about is your third option. And that is to plead not guilty and go to court. Now, you can go to court and represent yourself, or you can have a lawyer do it for you. If we were to represent you in court, the first thing we want to do is understand what happened. We want to hear your story. Also, in court, what we're going to do is we're going to talk with the prosecutor. We're going to talk with the police officer if necessary. We're going to review your ticket, and we're also going to review your driving background. And we're going to try to look for a solution. Oftentimes, what we want to do is we want to get that dismissed. And we're often successful at doing that. But of course, we cannot guarantee the outcome, or we cannot promise that your case is going to get dismissed. So if it's pretty clear that your ticket's not going to get dismissed, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to look for alternative solutions. That might be a trial. So if you didn't commit this offense, or we believe that the prosecution cannot prove that you committed this offense, then a trial might be an option for you. You'll need to be in court. You'll most likely testify. We'll have to cross-examine the police officer who issued you the ticket. And the judge is going to make a decision. Are you guilty or are you not guilty of committing this violation? The other alternative, which is also very, very common, is to reach some sort of agreement. That agreement can be to keep this off your record. This agreement can be to protect your license and your insurance rates. And if you have a CDL, we absolutely need to keep this moving violation off your record. So we can talk more about those things, because this has just been a general conversation about the ticket. But what we'll do is, if you call us, we'll talk about your specific situation, what happened, how we think we should best handle it. So we're happy to do that. We do it for free every day when we provide you a free case evaluation. So call us up and let's discuss it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful.